There we go.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Ramsey. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for taking time out of your day, investing in your knowledge to become more valuable for you, your team, and your customers. Like Einstein once said, don't seek to be successful, but seek to be valuable, because the more valuable you are to you, yourself, your teammates, and your customers, the more successful you're going to be. But that happens by not seeking success, but by seeking value instead. And you become more valuable by taking time doing what you're doing today, investing in your knowledge here with us at Soligent. We're so thankful that you're joining us here today. We know you're very busy and your time is valuable. So thank you so much for joining us here today to work on and hone your skills, your sales skills, selling storage and loans under NEM3 in California. I'm Josh Brum, Energy Storage Manager here at Soligent, the largest pure play solar distributor in the Americas. Also as well, our co-host today, Ramsey Zimmerman, Solar Engine Manager here at Soligent, discussing selling storage and loans under NEM3 in California. Ramsey, introduce yourself to the audience, please.
Yeah, thank you so much, Josh. Happy to be here. Happy that all of you have joined us. And it's a great topic to talk through. Obviously, there's lots of significant differences and changes coming through with NEM3. And I'm looking forward to giving some perspectives around the financing. It's been a wild year or two related to financing just in general, and that certainly has impacted the solar market. But there are many opportunities out there. And if you sort of know and understand what's going on with financing and sort of how things are different and what makes the most sense for customers, then you can really help your customers navigate that. So I'm looking forward to talking about that soon. Couple of quick housekeeping items before we really jump into the content. Here on Zoom, you can submit comments and questions. You have a little Q&A feature down there towards the bottom of your screen. Feel free to type us in questions as we go. And we have two halves to our presentation today, so we'll stop and take questions kind of in the middle there and then again at the end. So send those questions in as you like. And why don't we go ahead and get started? Josh, take it away.
Thank you very much, Ramsey. And again, thank you everyone for taking time out of your busy day today. We appreciate you and the opportunity to partner with you to help your customers thrive under NEM3 in California. Okay, so today we're going to talk about first order of business, selling storage and loans. Well, I'll talk about the storage part, being the energy storage manager here at Soligent. Ramsey will talk about loans, direct pay, and benefits available by working through our programs available here at Soligent. NEM3 in California has presented you and your businesses with a lot of challenges, but storage is a solution to many of those challenges. We'll talk about that today, but the biggest question I get is, Josh, how do I sell storage? How do I teach my team to sell energy storage? Because this has been traditionally under NEM1 and NEM2, a different kind of solar market in California. Okay, so prior, just giving you a quick snapshot history lesson, solar was taking the average kilowatt hour usage for the year, paring that down to average kilowatt hours per day and dividing by peak hours of sunlight. Boom, that's your PV array, and sell it and move on to the next. And that worked under NEM2 because your customer was able to take all the excess PV array produced energy that was produced during the day and not consumed while they were, at work or at school or what have you, and not there consuming the energy. So the utility would take that excess PV array produced energy under NEM2 and would give your customer a retail value for whatever per kilowatt hour charge they were charging at that time that the energy was produced. So it was kind of an even Steven situation. They were able to take that money or that value for that money per kilowatt hour and bank it and use it at night or at other times throughout the month or throughout the year, basically offsetting a lot of their usage. Well, now under NEM3 in California, selling storage with solar is going to be vital. It is going to be a have to, because currently under NEM3, it's no longer a retail rate. It's no longer even Steven. Instead of getting 30, 40 cents a kilowatt hour back during the daytime for what you're overproducing, that your customers are overproducing, they're only going to get maybe 8, 9, 10 cents a kilowatt hour, if that. And that right there does not bode well for the payoff period or your return on investment for the solar. It's still doable. It's just a much, much longer payoff period and much harder to sell. Enter in energy storage. Energy storage under NEM3 is a have to, because now instead of selling it back for 8 cents a kilowatt hour, your customers can have energy storage to store that excess PV array produced energy and self-consume it at night or at other times of the day or throughout the week or what have you, whatever their needs are. And that, I think that's a great way to start this. A great point is that every customer has a different need. You no longer just able to take an average kilowatt hour usage, divide by peak hours of sun, and then boom, there's your solar and there's your storage. Can't do that with storage. It's energy in versus energy out. Every customer has a different need. Well, then how do I sell storage, Josh, if everyone's got a different need? Well, we did some research behind the scenes here at Soligent. And what we were able to figure out here at Soligent was how to sell energy storage. The key is figuring out what type of customers fall into what categories under NEM3. And what we figured out is there are 3 types of storage customers. This can vary, but generally speaking, to make it as easy as possible for you to sell and be successful selling storage, there are 3 main types of storage customers under NEM3 in California. Type number 1. Type number 1 only sees energy storage with their solar as a financial investment to get return on investment for their PV array only, no battery backup. And just a moment, actually, I want to back this up just a hair. I got started, and it's important that you all see exactly what we're talking about here. So, how to sell storage under NEM3 in California. There are 3 different types of storage customers under NEM3. ROI for PV array, no battery backup. The customer under type number 1 only sees it as a financial investment. They just want to use a smaller battery system to offset usage when the rates are higher and self-consume excess energy. Type 1 customer has very few, if any, power outages at all. So battery backup is not very important for them. They just are looking to get a return on investment from their solar system. And under NEM3, like I mentioned earlier, you need to have a battery to do that so you can self-consume rather than selling it back at 8 cents a kilowatt hour. And at the end of the day, type 1 customer is only concerned about getting the fastest payoff period as possible. Again, no battery backup capable for this type of customer. So you build a much smaller system just to self-consume and not sell back some of that excess PV array produced energy, which at nighttime could be a differential of 20, 30, 40 cents per kilowatt hour. By self-consuming, they get that value instead of giving it back to the utility for pennies on the dollar. Type number 2 customer under NEM3 in California for storage. They're looking for a return on investment for their PV array, but they also have some occasional power outages, and they'd like a small battery system to back up emergency loads only. This customer isn't backing up the whole house. They're not going off the grid. They just want to back up their lights, their fridge, and a few outlets, just some bare bones minimum emergency loads. So type 2 customer under NEM3 in California for storage, they're looking to get the fastest payoff period as possible, but they also want to have emergency only battery backup if the grid goes down. And NEM3 customer type number 3 for energy storage in California, type number 3. So as you can see, there's 3 buckets: ROI for solar only, no battery backup, customer 1. Customer 2, emergency load battery backup, fridge, freezer, lights, and that's it. But they want ROI for their PV array. Now, customer number 3, they want to self-consume everything that's overproduced as well, instead of selling it back for pennies on the dollar, and they get that ROI for their PV array. But they also want to make the investment of having whole home backup, basically living off the grid. The customer type number 3, they want to get off the utility. They want to self-consume everything. They want that independence. And when the grid goes down, they want to run everything in the home. So that type of customer, they're concerned with getting the fastest payoff period, but they want whole home backup, self-consuming, and only using the grid on an as needed basis, or like I said, completely off the grid. So those are the 3 different types of customers. So again, to answer your question, or the rhetorical question earlier, how do I sell this though, Josh? Well, you've got to determine, what bucket does the customer you're talking to fall into? Are they looking for ROI only, no battery backup, or ROI on their solar with emergency backup, or ROI on their solar with whole home backup? Those are the 3 main types of customers. Which bucket do they fall in? Well, best way we can do that is asking open-ended questions, allowing your customer to talk so you can figure out what their goals are. So 2 great questions that and again, this can be expanded, but 2 great questions to determine which type of NEM3 customer your customer is. Number 1, have your sales team as well, ask the customer, what type of utility power outages do you experience and how often? This is going to determine if they have power outages at all. Does having battery backup even matter to them? And if they say, no, I never have a power outage, I just have a big bill, I want to save on my bill, boom, then you know that that is a solar plus batteries as a financial investment only that matches up with type 1 customer. Another question you can ask, how do you envision solar and energy storage working for you? And then let them talk. Again, open-ended questions, not yes and no questions, open-ended questions. We want the customer to talk, because that's where your sales team is going to be able to find out what type of customer your customer is, type 1, 2, or 3, but what bucket do they fall into? So let's go back to question number 1 about the power outages. Let's say your customer says, I experience a few power outages. I'd like to have some battery backup, but I don't have a big budget, and I just want to back up some, emergency loads, fridge, freezer, lights when the grid goes down. Great, your customer type number 2. That makes it real easy to determine who they are. You're looking to use the storage as a financial investment and have emergency load battery backup. And then, of course, what if the answer is, I have a lot of outages, or I hate the utility, and I just want to get off the grid as much as possible? Great, that's customer type number 3. Now, I highly recommend that you also qualify their financial wherewithal. And the reason why is because most people, when they say they want to go off the grid or they want to get rid of the utility, that's all emotion a lot of times. So you have to dig a little deeper. That some of those folks don't realize how much it may actually cost to accomplish that. Again, depending on what they want to run. Do they have 10 fridges in the garage? We don't know. It really depends on every customer. But those are some great ways and questions to ask to determine which type of customer under NEM3 in California for storage the customer qualifies as. Type 1, ROI only. Type 2, ROI plus emergency backup, or type 3, ROI plus whole home backup. Okay, options available here at Soligent. Again, there are more options than this. We have a lot of options available. We're single source solution here at Soligent, a one-stop shop. We have everything you need. So make sure you click on the link below, contact your rep. We have all the panels, PV array, racking, inverters, all sorts of battery options available. So the solutions are not limited to what we're showing you here today, just giving you a good idea of some great solutions available for these 3 different types of customers, or NEM3 in California. Type 1, ROI for PV array only, no battery backup. You can get this at Soligent, the Solar Edge Home Battery Rate Saver Strategy, using a 10 kilowatt hour Solar Edge battery, Solar Edge hub inverter. And you basically take out the interface, which cost a couple $1,000s. You take that cost out of the interface, and that takes away your battery backup, which you can always add that back in later. But it allows you to offset usage to provide an ROI for your solar. But again, no battery backup. This is customer type number one. Enphase 3T, 10T, and coming up soon, the new 5P batteries. Their system with their IQ microinverters and no system controller can allow for the same thing. Enphase calls as their version the bill offset strategy, very similar to the rate saver strategy of Solar Edge. Takes away the battery backup portion, but you're discharging the battery when it's the most advantageous to your customer, whether it's their rate schedule or just powering loads at different times of the day when the sun's not shining and self-consuming that energy. Generac power cell, also as well, the Solarc 12K and 15K inverter, plus a small lithium iron phosphate battery system would work great as well. Type 2 customer options, ROI for PV array and emergency load battery backup only. Again, these solutions available right here at Soligent. Solar Edge home battery uses one or more 10 kilowatt hour Solar Edge battery plus a hub inverter, but you add in the interface. This allows for offset for your ROI on your solar, so you can self-consume instead of selling back that excess PV array produced energy. But it also allows for some emergency battery backup power during an outage, and you can stack multiple batteries in 10 kilowatt hour increments. One of the big advantages to Solar Edge is that you can have the inverter, the interface, an EV charger, the PV array, and the battery all land on the same 40 amp breaker, which really lowers your main panel upgrade cost and helps you mitigate those costs and avoid those additional costs. So an advantage there. Enphase has their bill offset strategy we mentioned earlier without the system controller, but add in the system controller, and now you can use the battery for emergency load battery backup as well. Mentioned earlier, Solarc inverter plus a small lithium iron phosphate battery system like Endure Energy, Home Grid, Simplify Power, or Fortress Power can do the same thing as well. ROI on your solar and some emergency load battery backup for customer type number 2. Again, all available right here at Soligent. Type 3 customer. I want to get off the grid. I hate the utility. We've heard it. We've heard this customer many times. Again, qualify. What does your budget look like? Do you really know how much it's going to cost to really take your whole home off grid? Again, those of you who are on the call here today, on the webinar today, you've talked to these customers, and you know some of them are just emotional, and they may not have the money or the budget to go whole home backup, but it's a great way to start the conversation. Then you determine they maybe don't have the funds, but they would like to use their battery. Then you maybe revert them back to customer type number 2. But assuming that you have qualified their financial wherewithal, type 3 customer, ROI for PV array and whole home backup, you can use the 15K Solarc inverter or stack those up 12 inverters in parallel to be able to have whole home backup, because the Solarc inverter has a 200 amp internal transfer switch for the 15K, allowing you to back up an entire main panel for whole home backup. And then the energy storage options, the way you sell this is you just need to find out what is the max kilowatt hours that the customer uses on a max use day. A lot of people are offering whole home backup based on average kilowatt hour usage for the year, like you do solar. Can't do that, because if you're basing it on an average, a customer's average kilowatt hour usage might be 40 kilowatt hours a day, let's say, as an example. But during July or August, the grid goes down. Their average kilowatt hour usage during those months when the AC is on might be 60, 70, 80 kilowatt hours and not 40. And so if you sell someone whole home backup and you're doing it on an average usage, then they're going to be without energy storage if the grid goes down when they need it most, and they think they have whole home backup in July and August when there's the most amount of energy consumed. So I recommend for whole home backup, type 3 customer under NEM3 in California for storage, when sizing the energy storage option to pair with your 15K Solarc inverter, when sizing your storage, you need to base it not on averages, but max kilowatt hour usage. So you'll have to go to July or August, figure out that month out of the year that the most amount of kilowatt hours is being used, and then divide by the days of that month, the kilowatt hours used in that month for the average daily kilowatt hours in that max use month for a max use day usage. Again, you cannot use annual averages or you will sorely undersize your whole home backup customer. A lot of folks out there and competitors out there that you might have are getting away with telling people they have whole home backup and they're offering a 13.6 kilowatt hour battery because it has high discharge capability. But that AC fires up in July or August and that 13.6 kilowatt hour battery will be dead in 2 hours. And that's not really whole home backup. So we need to be honest about that. What is the max kilowatt hours used on a max use day? What do we need to know to size NEM3 systems? What do we need to know? We need to know how many kilowatt hours of usable energy does the customer need available daily from energy storage. So sizing storage for NEM3. Type 1, offsetting nighttime loads with about 10 kilowatt hours. This could be more. This is just an example of storage to use excess PV array produced energy self-consume instead of selling it back to the utility. Type 2, subtract daytime loads. So in other words, the energy that's being consumed while the sun is shining, okay, the PV array is covering those loads. So how much is that? Is it 8, 10 kilowatt hours? Your customer may not be at home. They may be at school or work, but loads are still happening during the day. Energy is still being consumed. The fridge is still on. The freezer is still on. They might have the AC on for the cats. Who knows? So find out from your customer, what are their daytime loads when the sun is shining? Okay, take the daytime loads, subtract those from the total daily average kilowatt hours used, and that should equal the estimated energy storage needed, so you won't have to sell it back, but you can self-consume it only. And then type number 3, we need to know max kilowatt hours used on a max use day, no averaging. You've got to go to the month, like I said before, where the most amount of kilowatt hours are being used. If they think they're having whole home backup under type 3, and you're basing it on an average, the battery will die in a few hours and they will not be happy campers. So it's very important when sizing storage for customer type number 3 that wants whole home backup that we're not averaging. You must use max kilowatt hours on a max use day. All right, that's all we've got for today. I want to let you know though, folks, this does not end here. If you and your team or your customers would like to meet with me, email me storage@soligent.net. That's storage@soligent.net. I'm Josh Brum, Energy Storage Manager here at Soligent. We can schedule and set up a personal customized training for you and your sales team to go over this in depth and train them on how to sell storage properly and work through the math, and we'll help you figure out total bill of materials needed and connect you with your Soligent rep right away to get you a quote, help you win some business, and help your customers thrive under NEM3 in California using energy storage. But it doesn't stop there. The learning continues. Coming up next, in just a moment, we'll answer some of your questions. But coming up next in just a moment, Part 2, how to use direct pay through Soligent to help your business thrive under NEM3 in California. This is going to be exciting. Welcoming our financing expert and my esteemed colleague, Solar Engine Manager at Soligent, Ramsey Zimmerman. Thanks so much, Ramsey.
Thank you, Josh. That was terrific. Great to hear all of that, learn all of that. Definitely send us your questions now. Now would be a good time to send us questions about anything storage related. Josh, it's interesting to me. I think a lot of people who are just, everyday folks don't really get the idea that you can have a battery and that your solar system wouldn't work when the power goes out. Even so, a lot of people still have to wrap their heads around even the notion that when the power goes out, your solar system, doesn't work all the time. Do you think it's difficult to sort of help people understand why that concept is? Like, is that the starting place where people need to start to help their customers understand?
Yes, it's really a conversation starter. You're right. You're right. Because that's the exploratory process in salesmanship. We sales 101. It's all about asking the right questions and then making them open-ended questions for discovery so the customers can talk and you can learn more about their goals and their needs. Because, like I said, they might say, I want whole home backup, but then come to find out that that's 10 times their budget and they can't afford it, or maybe they really don't want whole home backup. So qualifying questions, clarifying questions, so you may start off having somebody be in bucket number one as customer type number one for ROI only, but no battery backup. But then they have the reality check where, oh, wow, so I can't use the battery if the grid goes down. Yeah, but for just a little bit more, we can put you in bucket number two and we can use some emergency load battery backup as well. So you see how I did that? We're not stuck in one bucket. We use this
Right.
conversation as an opportunity you can move the customer from one bucket to another, transition them based on their answers to your qualifying and clarifying questions in the sales process.
Yes, 100%. I completely agree. I'm going to talk a bit about asking the right qualifying questions too, as we sort of jump into that. So, like we were saying, Solar Engine, I'm the Solar Engine manager, and what's that all about? So, in real brief, basic terms, I'm kind of the finance guy here at Soligent, and I help our customers to understand financing options and help you to find more financing options for your customers if they need that. So why don't I jump in and we'll do this second half here. Let me get my screen share going.
And friendly reminder, everyone, put your questions in the question Q&A section. And if we don't answer throughout, we will make sure we answer at the end. And friendly reminder as well, this webinar does not stop here. If you and your sales team would like a more in-depth storage and loans training for you and your sales team, please reach out to us, ramsey.zimmerman@soligent.net or storage@soligent.net. Either will work, and we will schedule with you and your sales team to have a more in-depth discussion and training afterwards if you would like. It's available.
Great. So one of the main things that we do here related to financing is to arrange for direct pay to Soligent from lenders. And what is that all about? Why would we want to do that? Well, direct pay has many benefits. As I'd imagine that the vast majority of residential solar projects are done by financing. That is loans taken by homeowners to fund their solar systems. And often contractors are helping to arrange that financing. And lenders pay out to these solar companies, the contractors, after construction has taken place. So it's up to you as the contractor, as the installer, to make arrangements to get your materials and your supplies and your equipment to the job site for construction. So you're going to need to either pay cash for that or use your credit card or pay credit, or you can use direct pay to Soligent from our lending partners. And that's a means to improve your cash flow, and it's a fast, easy, reliable process. Let's talk about direct pay and how that works. So you, as the solar company, you work with your customer to apply for and arrange for financing at one of Soligent's financial partners. And once that loan has gotten established and approved and all set, then Soligent can use that as a payment method for your materials, your supplies, your balance of system, all of that stuff that you get. And we can get that to your job site without having to tie up your capital. And then once the construction is done, the lender will pay Soligent at the same time that they pay you. So they pay us for the materials and the equipment, and they pay the remainder to you. And you always have the ability to fix and to get straight the amount of that direct payment, so that it always works well. Soligent has 3 direct pay financial partners that are currently set up. 3 of the main finance companies in the marketplace: GoodLeap, Sunlight Financial, and SunGage Financial. So let's take a minute and talk about each one of those individually. GoodLeap is the biggest player in the market. It's probably the most well-known. And it's easy to, if you have GoodLeap already, if you're already offering customers financing through GoodLeap, it's very easy to add Soligent as a distributor on your split pay list, so that you can provide direct pay to us. And GoodLeap has lots of flexibility in terms of their products, in terms of how much you can do with direct pay. And for every dollar that Soligent gets in direct pay from GoodLeap, we make donations to Give Power. Give Power is a terrific organization that helps people around the world. They focus on building systems in Africa that use renewable energy, solar electric power, to clean water and distribute clean water to villages. So it's a really terrific organization and way for us to give back and for you to join us in that effort. Next up is Sunlight Financial. Terrific organization. These guys are on the rise. They're expanding and they're eager to build their network of installers. So if you are looking for some additional financing options, or you need a financing option for your customers, take a look at Sunlight Financial. They have a great range of different products with different terms, different interest rates. They have great rates. Many of their products have low or no dealer fees, and that's a great option for their customers. They have a simple portal, they're easy to use, and terrific customer service. We also work with SunGage Financial, another great company. They've got a smooth process, they're easy to work with, they have lots of product options, including a loan that is built around the UTC, the federal tax credit, the 30% tax credit that most residents take advantage of when they use solar. So they split that loan into 2 pieces. One piece is for representing the federal tax credit. The other piece is the remainder. And they defer the payments for 18 months on any of the payments on that portion that's going to be covered by the tax credit. So if your customer, the homeowner, pays off that portion of the loan within the 18 months, they're not going to pay anything on that. They're not going to pay monthly payments. They're not going to pay interest rates. If they decide instead to take on that part of the loan, they'll just re-amortize, they'll recalculate the payments for that. So it's a really terrific option. It's a great product. People really, really like it. All 3 of these are great companies. We enjoy working with them. We would be happy to arrange direct pay to you through any combination of these residential partners. So let's talk a bit now about today's financing challenges. Let's be honest, it's been tough the last couple of years. About this time last year, interest rates really started climbing up and up and up, and they have not yet come down. They will, I certainly think that they'll come down eventually, but we haven't gotten there yet. And so that has added a lot of pressure to the financing sources to either increase their rates for loans or to increase their dealer fees or some combination. And so that pressure has certainly impacted solar sales. It has also tightened up the lenders' requirements about the companies that are in their networks. And so it's fairly difficult these days to get onto finance companies and credit unions and banks' networks of installers. Add to that the introduction of NEM3 in California. So now, net energy metering is not nearly as attractive as it used to be. Josh explained to us really well, I think, about how NEM3 is different from NEM2. But I got to tell you, California is still one of the best, if not the best state in the nation to sell solar, even with NEM3 and even with where financing is at. Because in California, you really have that magic combination of lots of sun and high electricity rates. And that is really the formula for making solar attractive. So now the importance of calculating those savings and showing different options and how they shake out are more important than ever, as well as the other benefits that solar and storage have. Should be right up front and part of your sale too. Solar and storage have many sustainability and resilience benefits. Solar energy is renewable. It reduces our pressure on fossil fuels, reduces carbon emissions. And when paired with battery storage solutions, you can increase the resilience of these homes and these homeowners with the ability to keep the lights on, keep the power going during storms, other weather events, during fires season, and any other disruptions. So there's lots of opportunities, and let's talk about them. Continuing with that notion of asking the right questions, on the financing side, you also need to ask the right questions. Here's a few examples. How much capital would you like to invest in your solar system? Even those customers that are financing, they're still making an investment, and solar is a tremendous investment. So people can finance the full amount, or they can finance part of it. They can have the flexibility to put part of that money down and make an investment in solar, because an investment in solar is very reliable. It's very predictable. The sun is going to come up and utility rates are going to stay as high, probably increase over time. And with the economy and the market as dynamic and unpredictable as it is these days, solar is a tremendous investment. So first question, how much of an investment would you like to make? How much of capital? Next, it's also important to understand how important it is to your customers to have the lowest payment every month versus do they want to pay the least amount of interest over time? This gets back to that question of, are they more concerned with the here and now, or are they looking at playing the long game? Those same customers that you were asking about whether they wanted to have a battery backup that provided some of their power, or whether they wanted a battery backup that provided all of their power. I would think that in many cases, the folks who want to have more backup power, they're probably playing the long game. So they probably want to have lower interest, total interest over time. But it's good to ask that question, get them thinking about it. Because there's a related question that'll start being relevant here, is how fast do you want to pay that loan off? Most solar loans are drawn up with something like a 20-year or even a 25-year term. Even if you get a loan that long, it still happens to be the average that solar loans are paid off in more like 5 years or 7 years. So you can have it's a little bit counterintuitive, but you can have a higher interest rate on a loan with a longer term. But if you're intending to pay that loan off quickly by paying above and beyond what the minimum monthly payments are, you're still coming out ahead because you don't have to pay that interest. interest at the end of a loan beyond the time in which you paid it off never has to get paid. So this really brings up the balance of upfront fees versus long-term interest payments or interest rates. So is it better in each case for your customer to pay a higher dealer fee at the beginning and have a really low, artificially low interest rate? Or will it be better for them to have a no dealer fee option that has a higher interest rate? Here's a way to think about it. When you have a loan with a dealer fee, that dealer fee gets paid. It gets paid at the beginning. It's baked into the purchase price. So that's going to get paid. That fee is going to get paid out 100% of the time. Versus a higher interest rate, if someone doesn't keep the loan for the entire period, they're not going to pay those interest charges. So again, that's sort of that notion of, do you want to pay now or pay later? Or do you want to pay now and maybe not later? Do you want to maybe pay now later? So you find that balance. Really the best thing to do as you can is to have options available. And the partners that we have, GoodLeap, Sunlight, and SunGauge, they all have different options, different products within their portfolios that have different term lengths, different interest rates, different dealer fees. So you can sort of use what you learn about your customers, about what they want to do in order to give them a good balance. Now, in addition to those finance companies, there are also different forms of financing, including credit unions. So I always encourage people to look around at the credit unions within their market and to build relationships with credit unions and to understand what they're offering. Usually they may have a higher interest rate, but they have very low, if any, dealer fees. So they're a good option. I put one example there, matadors.com or .org rather. Matadors.org is an example of a California credit union. And then also look at state programs, PACE programs, which is property assessed capital. And Renew Financial .com is a great example of that in California. The thing about PACE loans, which is interesting, is that it's based on the property as opposed to being based on an individual's credit as much. And so for homeowners, it gets sort of involved with their property. And so for homeowners, they're evaluated more based on how well they pay their mortgage versus what their FICO scores are. And also, I understand Renew Financial has some great opportunities for customers and contractors. So please do check out their website. There's opportunities to apply there if you want to join their network as well. So again, that's really what I have to say. If I had to sort of tie it all up into a nice little bow or package, yes, there are some significant challenges, but you're still in a tremendous selling environment for California. So now it's about asking the right questions and learning what you need to learn from your customers.
Excellent. And we have a great question from Robert Scabelli. Do you have a partner for commercial project financing or any recommendations there, Ramsey?
Yeah, great question. So commercial financing is kind of a different animal from residential financing for projects. We do have some commercial partners. We have some partners that can provide short-term cash to you as the contractor in order to essentially float the cost of getting those constructions done. And we also have some relationships with commercial financiers for your customers taking that commercial financing. But in my experience, the commercial financing is a lot less cookie cutter. And so we definitely want to talk about each of those projects individually. So if you have some commercial projects, probably reach out to me directly over email, And let's talk through kind of what those what some of the details are there, and we can work on them.
Yeah, and great job for explaining all of that for us and educating us today, Ramsey, and really tying it together, selling storage and loans under NEM3 in California. How do you do it? It really comes down on either side of the coin to asking the right questions, and also, really doing your homework as a customer and for your customers. This isn't all about just doing a transaction. Obviously, this is a great business opportunity and will help your business thrive and your customers thrive with storage and loans under NEM3 in California, partnering here with Soligent, just like Ramsey and I have talked about this past hour. But it goes deeper than that. Our mission of creating an emissions-free future, that we're making a better world for our kids and grandkids, but not just our future. Right now, direct pay, our program that Ramsey talked about here at Soligent, not only does it take one of your biggest pieces of overhead, which is locking up all your capital, all your excess money that you have available in inventory, having to buy that inventory upfront for a job. That's cash you can't use to invest and use in your business to grow. That's all locked up in inventory purchases. But if you use direct pay through Soligent, it frees up that capital, because now that's being paid direct by the lender to Soligent for your materials. That frees up money for you and your business to grow, become more competitive, be more valuable to your customers, your employees, and yourself. But in addition to being a financial advantage using direct pay through Soligent, it also does something else that I'd like you to touch on a little bit further. I think it's amazing. When you look at the heart of a company, you look at the results. Like Jesus said, you'll know a tree by its fruit. We've got a lot of fruit here at Soligent. And I cannot end this without bragging about the most awesome program in solar today and storage today. And that is, well, talk a little bit about that. We take for granted here in America that we turn on the faucet and clean water comes out. But through the Give Power program, by using direct pay here at Soligent, you can be a part of something bigger right now, not just the future, but helping people get clean water around the world right now. Tell folks about our Give Power program and how by using direct pay, they can make a difference, not just in their businesses and financially for themselves, and using that advantage with Soligent, but helping real people around the world, man.
Yeah, no, Give Power is great. These guys have been around for quite a few years now. We've been in partnership for them with about 3 years, and we're coming up on 40,000 people that we've helped to get clean water coming to them. In the undeveloped world, people spend literally hours just getting water for their family. So it's mostly women who are collecting water for their families, for their children. They spend, in some cases, literally hours going back and forth to get water and bring it back. Give Power has been developing systems and deploying systems that use photovoltaics to power desalination plants. So they're literally taking seawater and they're cracking it and cleaning it and providing fresh water to villages in Africa. And yes, we take it for granted that we can just turn on the tap and get fresh water, but that is not the situation in many people's lives. And that's one of the reasons why I enjoy being in this industry, is that solar power and being able to store electricity, it's renewable and it's distributed. You can literally set this thing up anywhere. And Give Power, they create those plants in storage containers, so they're modular. They can put them wherever they need them, and people don't have to walk for hours to get water anymore. It just improves their quality of life. So I'm happy that Soligent is able to contribute to that program. And you can be a part of that too by using direct pay through GoodLeap, because every dollar that we get through GoodLeap for direct pay, we make donations to Give Power. It's really a terrific program. Thanks for bringing it up.
Wow, wow. I'm so thankful that we work here at Soligent and with you, our customers that are on the webinar today. I'm thankful for you as well. Ramsey and I are both excited that you were able to attend today. And friendly reminder, we are happy to schedule a personal customized training for you and your sales team to go into this deeper for you and your sales team afterwards. Also as well, our marketing director, Eric Daly, will be taking this webinar and posting it at the Soligent YouTube channel. So be looking out on social media for that as well. If you happen to have to leave early or know of some of your sales team or colleagues that were not able to attend but really wanted to check it out, we'll make sure that we have a recording of this webinar posted at the Soligent YouTube channel as well. So if you'd like to get a personal customized training for you and your sales team, just email ramsey.zimmerman at soligent.net or storage@soligent.net, and we will get back to you and schedule that customized personal training for you and your sales team. We so appreciate you being here today. And again, thriving, this isn't a negative, it's a positive. It's an opportunity. Under NEM3 in California, California is still the sunshine state. Lots of sunny days here in California. So lots of kilowatt hours, potential of being produced by solar here in California, still there. In addition, the utilities are raising rates and giving less money back to folks for NEM3 under this new policy. And because of that, you can use energy storage and solar to help your customers save money on their bills and get a return on investment, and even have resiliency when the grid goes down. It's all available right here at Soligent. In addition, saving money by having more capital available, by not having it all tied up in inventory, using the direct pay program available. Ramsey Zimmerman, our solar engine manager, talked about it today. You can have that capital available to invest back in your business and not stuck in the never-ending wheel of inventory that you really never see. So you can have that money available to you by using the advantages here at Soligent with direct pay. And by using direct pay, we're partnered with GoodLeap. Some of that money will be going to helping people in undeveloped countries around the world that are less fortunate than us by providing them with clean drinking water. So we're doing good there, and you're doing good by just being a part of this awesome solar and energy storage business that is providing renewable energy solutions that will help us create a world that is beyond emissions for our kids and grandkids. So a lot of good stuff here today. I'm so thankful to be a part of this, and thank you so much, Ramsey, for all the hard work that you do here at Soligent helping our customers.
Absolutely.
Before we go, is there any parting words you'd like to add to the audience?
I think you said it all. Really great experience. Happy to be here, and let's go collect a whole lot of sunlight and create a whole lot of electrons out of it and store it and use it. Let's do it.
Excellent.
Have a great day, everybody.
God bless you all. Hey, have a great day. Thank you very much, Ramsey. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, you can find out more at the Soligent YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining us here at Soligent, the largest pure play solar distributor in the Americas.